Hello everyone. Happy Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another tutorial on using the embossing folder. Today I'm going to be doing a little or going another step forward. Instead of doing the entire piece or the entire cardstock, like this piece here embossed, I will be showing you how to emboss maybe just sections of it or half of it or something like that, but you will see. And I will be using a machine, a manual machine that I've had as well that I haven't used very much, but I decided to give the Cuttlebug a break and then use this one. And this one is the Momenta Freestyle. It just comes with 3 plates. Your base plate, just like it would be equivalent to the A plate on the Cuttlebug. And then it comes with 1 plate for embossing and 1 plate for die cutting. So it's kind of convenient in a sense, because then all you have to do, depending on what you're doing, is either you're embossing or you're cutting. So that's it. There's nothing else with this one, which of course I think is pretty neat. That's one of the conveniences of that one. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. I did pull a couple of things here. This is, of course, an embossing folder. It's just kind of like a floral type of folder. Let me see. No, that doesn't work, does it? But anyway, you will see what it is. This is basically a 5x7 size. However, I am going to use and show you, how I would be doing half the piece of cardstock and half the other side. And there are a couple of ways you can do that, but let me show you the first way that I have used before. But in this case, I'm using one folder to do it and in a different way, but I'll show you what I mean. So using these 2 plates, again, there's the base plate and the cardstock. I'm going to place it in kind of as much in the middle as possible. Now, one of the things you can do, which I think might basically be helpful, I am going to take a piece of tape, which I realize I did not have handy, so I do apologize, but I think I found it. So I'm going to take a piece of tape and I'm going to run it across where I think I want it to stay without the embossing. Just a guide for me, just a guide. So if you can see here, I put it across. So I'm going to try to get the machine up to a point on both sides so I can leave the center part. So just keep your fingers crossed because I'm trying this way for the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and place this on here. Also get my plate on, and let's try this. And you might have to use maybe something to kind of make sure your paper or your cardstock is actually in a good place. So I'm going to go ahead and do up to here. Hopefully I got it. And then I'm going to put it the other way. So let's see if I have luck on this one. And I'm going to do this side through here, and then I'm going to put it back. All right. So let's see what happened. Let me see if I did achieve what I was hoping for. Okay. Well, guess what? There is still a space, right? So maybe I just had to come a little lower down, but at least this gives you an idea of the options you have. So in this case, I mean, this space here is not too bad at all. I mean, you could, get your sentiment here and maybe put a little something in here, but at least it gives you an idea what I'm referring to. Now, what I may have done was when I put this in, and I'm going to try it again, perhaps I needed to come a little more over this one, just come way over instead of stopping up here, because it looks like it actually was missing a little extra, but that's fine. But this is a nice little option here, and I want to bring it in so you can see you have the bottom part and the top embossed. So let's try this with another piece. This time I'm using a 5x7, which is pretty big. So let's try this again and see if we have luck with that one. So I'm going to do the very same thing. Get that in here. And I'm going to go through. Okay, so I'm going to go this way and I'm going to come back out. And let's try the other side. Oops, hold on a second, just a little operating glitch because it kind of moved. Let's try this now. Let's see if that did help. Okay. All right. So let's see if this happens. I'm so used to just flipping this and sticking it in my Cuttlebug. I was about to do just the same thing. So it's like, oh, okay, let's see if this worked. Okay, so look at this. You see? I mean, it's really not too bad. So you still have the space in here, but this is a way that you could use the embossing folder, which I think is pretty lovely actually. And then of course I will show you, you can leave it like this or you can add color. Now I'm going to show you another way you could do it, and instead of using this as my guide, I'm going to do just a different way. I'm going to take another piece of paper and I'm going to put it, let me see, this is another way I have done it. Okay, so I put it like kind of halfway on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and run this through the Cuttlebug. Not the Cuttlebug. You see, I'm so used to my Cuttlebug. Sorry, guys. I miss my Cuttlebug already, but you know, this looks pretty good. Just forgive me. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here. I am going to run it through. Okay. Okay, so let's look at this side. Okay, so you have one side. I'm sorry if you can see it. I'm just trying to make sure you see it. And let's do the other side. So I'm going to just flip this. The only difference is that the marking here, you will see it on your paper. It's up to you. If you don't like it, then of course don't do that. But if it's not going to bother you one way or the other, then that is absolutely fine to do. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and I'm going to just leave this space here for the sentiments. So, you know, just play around with the folder and, you know, just have fun doing these things. I'm going to go ahead and do this side like I mentioned, and then we're going to have this space, and we are good. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put this aside and let us look at the results. Okay, so here is the other way you can do this. So you can choose to use the folder and have the, you know, your borders here around it, or you can do it this way. It's entirely up to you, where you can have, you know, a definite border here. And again, I'm trying to see if I can show you this. So you have definite borders here by just, you know, embossing piece by piece, you know, flipping, so you can get the two parts, or you can put the entire thing in and then get up to a point where you have, you know, your edges with the borders. So that's one option. And of course, that's the same thing. I was just with a smaller piece, which is 5.5 by 4.25, and you could do it this way too. Now, once you have done that, again, you can always leave that, you know, white or whatever color you want. And whoops, just getting this out of the way. Okay. All right. And you could now decide, okay, if I don't want to use this, I'm going to just add some color. Oops, sorry guys, must have shaken things to death there for a minute. So I'm just going to try, let's just use a little orange, just a couple of colors on there. What's this one? Oh, that's black. I don't necessarily want black. Okay, once we have done that, we can choose on this one. That's the one that I chose, to use the put it in twice. So I have the borders up here and nothing here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just add a little color. And I'm just adding color to the tops, okay? I'm just lightly just passing it over so that I can get color more or less on the elevated parts. That doesn't mean the inside may not get a little something, but I'm doing it light, okay? Just lightly. So as you can see, the pattern is now more prominent, yes. Or we can go all the way and just go ahead and just get it done, which is another option. It's entirely up to you. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole thing, and then we shall see. Now there's something you can do, because if you want to get right up to the border and you don't want it to overlap or to go into the space that you wish to put your sentiment, you can always put, something on here and just go through so that it does not, intrude in your sentiment space. And I'm just using the other one that I have, and I'll show you. So you see, just put something, in just under the line so that you don't get into the sentiment space. And of course, use a piece of paper towel or something of that nature, because your fingers can get smudges onto your work. So we have this option here, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so this is one side, but what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be trimming off the excess, so that's fine. But if you notice that you have your nice orange color here, you can add more color if you want to. So I'm going to do this side. Just so I can get that color in. And again, when you're adding color to your work, just remember to start off the paper and go onto the pattern or the paper. And you can add it as much as, the intensity that you do want. There is no specific, amount. If you want to put it, you put it. If you don't, it's entirely up to you. And then, of course, you can put one side darker, one side with less color. If you want something like an ombre look, it's just up to you. Okay, I am almost done with that. Okay, and I only colored this just so that you can see. Oops, this has to change, so I'm going to just throw it out. Oops, I guess I missed my trash bin, but that's all right, I'll get it after. So you see, you have the two parts, and then you can always put your sentiment in here. And I am going to trim this so you can really see, the edges. I kind of like this one, or, well, this is the same thing. I kind of like this one simply because you have the border here, and you can always trim around the border if you want to. This one, the only thing is you have the borders kind of more on the inside, which is Some people may like, some people may not like. But let me go ahead and just trim this off. Just want to make sure I have it. Okay. Okay, so I trimmed off just the excess, so now we have this. And you can do it this way, or you can actually cut this piece out, put it on the base of a 5x7 card, and still do the separation, basically, where you can put your sentiment in here. And maybe I can show you in what I'm referring to, because I'm a visual learner, so I want to make sure that you're on the same page with me. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one out. So I have just cut this part out and this part out. Okay, so saying if this was a 5x7, you could always do one of two things. You can still separate it. So say if your background base card is pink or white, it just depends on what you want. This border here, which was at the bottom here, you can just turn it. And then if you notice, you can still have, here's the pattern, right? I'm trying to get it lined up for you. Okay, here is the pattern. You see it does flow in. So you can always cut it down to fit, and then you can open up the, open it up like this. So you still have the corresponding pieces and you can have your sentiment in the middle. So that's one of the things you can do. Or you can just have it like this on your 5x7, plain white, put your color in the middle. If you want to add, something to give it a lift or a pop, you can do that too. But I prefer this option instead, and you can use two different embossing folders if you want to. That's another option. So next week I'm going to show you one more way that you can use the embossing folder. But I hope this was, or gave you some kind of inspiration or ideas on how to use the embossing folder. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and I do apologize if there was a glitch in there. Hopefully it did not affect the video. Thank you for watching. Have a safe week. See you guys next Sunday. Bye bye.